Hello, I'm Stephanie Sparrow Hughes, and today we're reading Where's Rodney by Carmen Bogan and illustrated by Floyd Cooper. Let's begin. Rodney, where's Rodney? Once again, Rodney wasn't in his seat, and Miss Garcia had had enough. But Rodney had interesting things to do. He liked to watch the big black birds outside soar over the cafeteria that smelled like yesterday's lunch, or catch a tiny little bug creeping across the windowsill. He stood on his tippy toes to find the stray dog that bullied the neighbor. Rodney was inside, but all he wanted to do was be outside. Outside is where Rodney always wanted to be. Miss Garcia let out a long, deep breath. She stepped behind Rodney and tapped him on the shoulder. Rodney, join the class. The word of the week is majestic, Miss Garcia said. Majestic. Can you tell us what it means? Rodney looked around the classroom, and there was a million eyes looking back at him. Nope. Miss Garcia took another deep breath. Rodney balanced on one foot like a pink flamingo. Sue Lynn giggled and covered her mouth. He hopped in the air just like a cricket. Rodney stretched out his arms like an eagle soaring high above. Sit down, Rodney, Miss Garcia said. The whole class whirled in laughter. Okay, majestic means grand and beautiful. Rodney, if you can't do your work, you won't be able to go on the field trip to the park on Friday. But Rodney didn't care. All he knew about was the park. It was small, it was triangle-shaped patch of yellow grass next to the corner store and the bus stop. It had one large cardboard box trash can and two benches where some grown-ups sat all day long. Yes, Rodney knew about the park. And anyway, Mama said stay away from the park. Then when 3 o'clock bell rang, Rodney ran outside. He darted across the street past Miss Jackson, across the crossing guard. Walk, she yelled, but he ran. He ran past the corner store, he ran past the bus stop, and then he ran past the triangle-shaped patch of yellow grass on the two benches and the broken gate where the bully's dog slept. Now he could see his mama peeking out the window. She opened the door and gave him a big hug. I'm glad you're inside, she said, but outside is where Rodney wanted to be. Very early on Friday, the old yellow bus squeaked, jerked, and rattled out of the school parking lot. Even before it reached the front gate, Sue Lynn and Amina were singing and playing and clapping their hands. Everyone was excited, but not Rodney. He knew that he wanted to go to the park. They would all see that he was right. The parks are no big deal. The bus turned the corner on 2nd Street, but Rodney thought that the bus driver must be lost because he drove past the bus stop, past the corner store, and even past the patch of yellow grass. Sue Lynn and Amina kept singing and clapping. The old school bus rumbled, rolled, and creaked further along than Rodney had ever seen before. Rodney gazed out the window. He stared at the white lines in the middle of the great highway. He counted the big trucks that passed. He leaned in to see the birds float above the fields, and he watched the people with wide straw hats pick vegetables in neat rows. The old bus clanged and coughed and choked. It climbed higher and higher into a great mountain swallowed it whole. At the end of the tunnel, the mountain spit out the old school bus. into a flash of sunshine. No one laughed, no one talked, and no one giggled. Everyone looked, and Miss Garcia announced, "It's the park." And finally, Rodney was outside. At the park, he was higher. He was lower. He was bigger, and he was smaller. He was louder. He was quieter. He was faster, and he was slower. Rodney was outside, more outside than he had ever been before. The sun sank into the sky. It was a time to leave. Some of the children chattered and giggled. Some munched on leftovers. Others dozed. Sue Lynn and Amina sang more songs. "Where's Rodney?" Miss Garcia asked. Rodney was sitting quietly, gazing out the window. Miss Garcia sat beside him. "Do you like the park, Rodney?" "Oh yes," he said. "It's majestic." Thank you again for joining us, and we will look forward to you joining us again next time.